Everybody wants to know, what's the deal with 777? How come you guys are always putting 7 on everything?
I'm gonna break it down for you right quick. IR on the track, yo. Saturasi Mandala, 7 stars of the prominent saints. Vedantic astrological constellations is raised. 7 stars of Orion, 7's the Big Dipper. Wisdom built its house on the strength of the 7 pillars. 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit, 7 sacraments. 7 years in the life of the lab Mac. Check celestial man, it's 777 again. 7 is in the inner, the outer, 7 sins. Lust, envy, and greed, feeding the gluttony. Sloth, wrath, and pride, tell me what would the number be? It's 7, so keep the balance and challenge your worldview. 7 heaven, 7 hells, if there's sin then there's virtue. Chastity, charity, kindness, and temperance. Patience, humility, filling me with diligence. The book of Revelation, see the 7 seals concealed within. 7-headed dragon, savage and killing men. The 7th millennium after archetypal Adam. Satan will be tamed for 1,000 years fastened. 7
Yes, I, Black again. This is Lord Sage, Sage of the 7th path. Giving thanks for the coming in, you know. Come in. So yeah, so we're moving on, you know. So yeah, this is a 6th pack. So basically, we all recognize who are the originators of the earth, who is the first set of people on the planet Earth. And so basically, Africans give birth to the world. We civilize all races, give them cultures, you know, based upon African culture. You know, so that's why we could trace back every culture back to Africa. You know, so we're gonna play some related videos where we're gonna see how people, you're gonna see how other people are questioning and coming up with the same, some of the same conclusions when it comes to the creation of mankind. So we are seeing the difference between mankind and human beings. So the original people of the earth was a black man and a black woman. And then they created mankind. Now we all know that when the black man and the black woman come together, all we create is black. So in order for us to create a different type of human being, we had to go out of ourselves. Where what is called engineering. And we take our genetics and we spice it with animal genetics and we create beings, we create hominids. You know, that's how Africans created the hominids, where these Caucasians today are going back and finding fossils of these hominids, and they are giving Africans no credit for creating these hominids. But they are saying is evolution. You understand? And we see evolution taking place. I mean, evolution does not exist. It's just a word that was put there to put people off track, you know, and to make them think it's something invisible that just created these hominids. You know, where it's a black African that created these hominids, because Africans developed sciences from all angles. We develop science. Science is the breakthrough of Africans. So these Europeans now, they are just rediscovering the science. So yeah, so I don't want to go too deep in all of that. We have discussed all of that, you know, before. So we're just going to go into these videos quickly, and we're going to see what they're saying, and we're going to compare it to what I have already said, and we're going to compare them, you know, and we're going to move on from there, you know. So this subject is so vast, that subject is so vast, so much different angles to touch upon, you know. So let's go. I'm going to play this video.
What fascinates me on this planet is
the diverse, many different races we have here. Is it because of environment and locale, or are...
So he's saying that we have so many different people on the planet Earth, and we have no origins how they came about. So he's asking himself if it's because of a different location and, you know, and atmosphere, and, you know, because that goes along with the natural selection theory, which comes from evolution theory, in a sense. So he's wondering if it's in the environment that causes people to mutate and change into different races. And we have no evidence of this type of things. You understand? There is no one changing any climate today. You understand? So the African remain black in Africa, the Chinese remain yellow in Africa. They call him a yellow man, but he's not actually yellow, but you know. So the white man still remains Caucasian, you know. So we see nothing is changing unless someone comes and changing themselves, someone comes and changes specifically. Because we see all the races have this specific look, and nothing is changing that unless they mix with one another and they create a different type of being. But the Chinese look remains the same, the black man look remains the same, you know, everybody looks remains the same. So we see it is something specific, you know. So let's continue.
Are these all, I've always thought about this.
The more we look at the different race groups on planet Earth, you know, we call ourselves the human race, but we're not one race. We're distinctly several different race groups. That becomes very interesting and often a very sensitive subject.
So yeah, so this white man is saying that we're not one race, we're several different race groups, right? So you know, people always like to say we are one race or one people, and we clearly could see we are not one race. You could clearly see you're different from a white man. As a black man, you're very different from a white man and a Chinese and an Indian. You understand? So just by looking at ourselves, we could see we could immediately see that we're different. And when we go down into the cultures and the things that we do and the things that we say, we're also different. So you understand? So we must stop playing games.
But something that needs to be discussed openly without, you know, racial prejudice and so forth. So it becomes more and more compelling. The evidence becomes overwhelming that we did not really evolve to this point in time. We somehow were manipulated into this point.
So you're saying that that mankind didn't evolve. The genetics were manipulated and they were created. So this is the conclusion he's coming with. So when they are speaking of creation of mankind, you're not talking about the originators of the earth. You're talking about mankind, because remember, man and woman came first, and after man and woman came mankind. So all this talk about creation, we came from this and we came from that, this is not applying to the black African, which is the first beings on the planet. You understand? Because the Africans dwelt on the planet for millions of years before any other race was in existence. So when these crackers are going and searching and trying to find out their origins, for they are the youngest race on the planet, just putting that in there. When they go back looking and searching, you understand? Is through their history. Is themselves they're thinking about. They're not thinking about the black African when they are doing these researches. You understand? And we know as Africans that white man history go back to the caves. You know, where they were grunting and they couldn't even speak. They had no language, no mathematics, none of these type of things. We're the ones who civilized them and they developed. Just like we civilized the Indians and they developed. We civilized the Indians and they developed. And whatever culture they had, they developed into it. You understand? That's why the Chinese have martial arts and all these type of things. They develop in martial arts because this was a science they also took from us. You understand? So whenever the Caucasians are talking about the creation, history, they always put it according to them. So you as a black man now can look upon them to get the real facts and truth about history, because the black man history goes way further than the white man's history. The black man history goes back forever and ever and ever. We have no begin date. No one could point out a begin date for the black man and the black woman, but we could find a begin date for all the other races, the Europeans, the Chinese, the Indians, all of them. You understand? For they were created by black Africans, and we're going to learn who the black Africans are in a moment. These original black Africans, who everyone is they're trying to identify them as aliens or Anunnakis, but this is the same black Africans. That's why we are still here today. You know, that's why we are still existing today, and there's no giants. If they are existing, but they are existing in their own realm. I mean, could be under the earth, in the earth. You know, so we'll touch on that, and we'll find out what's really going on in that aspect of it. But I'm just saying all this to show that we gotta be careful when these crackers are talking about creation, and don't think they're talking about us. So we cannot look upon them to hear about our creation. We gotta give reference to our own creation, right? But the crackers, these white folks are out there doing all the research and doing everything to find out. And all out there, they go back there, they're finding themselves attaching to Africa through the hominid, because all races have Neanderthal DNA except the black African. So they are tracing themselves back through the hominids type creatures, you understand, which the black African created. So all of them have their origins from Africa through the hominid. You know, this is what they're researching. They're researching the fossils of the hominids, so they could trace the genetics back to the hominids. That's why they say they have Neanderthal DNA. And Neanderthal is a type of hominid. So let's go on.
For a specific reason, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, some evolutionists, Michael, would say, George, don't use the word popped up. We evolved, yet it's pretty convincing that we kind of just showed up all of a sudden, isn't it?
The spread of humankind.
Yeah, it's pretty convincing that they just showed up, because the European race is the youngest race on the planet. The European race is the youngest race on the planet. So to some of them, they just popped up. That's why they're so curious about where they come from and who created them. And when they do the science and they go back, they all out there, they're going back to the black African. And check it out. They're doing all this research in Africa, finding all these fossils in Africa, yet still they're not giving the Africans no credit for creation. They're giving credit to aliens and all type of things. You understand? And all this is happening in Africa, where the originators of Africa is the black Africans. They're the first set of people in Africa. So how comes the Africans are getting no credit for creation, and we're going all in space looking for aliens and getting credit for creation? So let's go on.
That are being sold to the world doesn't have any human skeletons in it. We have hominids in there, Australopithecus africanus, and Mrs. Flex, and Littlefoot, and wonderful examples of over 500 fossils that have been excavated from the Saxelbank Cave, just to the northwest of Johannesburg. Over 500 fossils, if I've got it right. But they're all hominids, no human skeletons there. So these are all the supposedly pre-human evolutionary states. They are not human.
So basically you're saying like 500 fossils have been found from like this one cave, right? In this location, right? It's in location in Africa, right? So you're saying that they are not human. You understand? So this is what I'm saying. Everyone is proud to say they are finding fossils in Africa, and they did back. They prove that these fossils prove that man existed in this location for a very long time, and prove the oldest existing humans, and all this is happening in Africa. But he's saying that these things are not humans, and he's right, they are not humans, they are hominids. They are part human, part animal creatures. They are hominids. And when so through the years passed down up to 2019, right? All the ancient times before that, when the hominids were being created, many hominids, many creatures, many mythical creatures were created. Giants and midgets and all type of different types of people were created before the actual mankind was developed, because it's a sign that was developed. You understand? You start from one stage and you end up in a different stage through your progress, you know, of the science, which is human and animal engineering that was taking place. So you understand? So since so many different animals, insects and creatures from the sea, genetics were being mixed together to splice to create all different type of creatures. You understand? So when scientists today find these fossils of little human beings and mermaids and all this type of, you know, an elongated head, like we are thinking is DNA from out of this world, because these genetics will all mix together at such a level that they have no comprehension of. So when you investigate these matters and they test these fossils and stuff like this, they're saying like it's alien DNA to them. So they're giving aliens and coming up with this, you know, and saying aliens are responsible for creating them and all this type of thing. But they're not realizing is the global human and animal engineering program that was taking place on planet Earth, that many species were spliced together to create all different things, and animals were also created also with human DNA inside them. This is why we have the dog, we have the cat, we have the horses, we have the cows, we have all these types of animals that have human DNA inside them. You understand? So, yeah, so let's go on.
It has become a very hot political debate in South Africa because some people believe that you've become a racist, that you're drawing racial lines. It's got nothing to do with that. You've got to call it.
Yeah, I just want to make a point. It's very true. That when you come on that subject and you start to talk about the subject of the first race and who came after, and people claim to think like you're racist and you're just trying to be racist and making racist gestures and these type of things. But no, you're just dealing with the facts, the evidence, what is there. You know, and some people can't take it, you understand? So, but the truth is stranger than fiction sometimes, you know? So let's go.
What it is, you got to call it as you find it. You can't start becoming politically sensitive to one group or another.
No, this is anthropology. Are these all various sects, races from other extraterrestrials that have been here, and you know they've manipulated in their own image?
So he's saying, are these different types of people? Are these people the place, like how the way they get the features? Does it come from the different types of extraterrestrials that came here? So he's trying to determine how they get the different features. Like I said before, many different types of animals was used to give these people the different types of features. When you use different types of animals, genetics with human genetics, you're actually creating the features of whatever that you're creating. Because all these types of animals have their type of physiology, the physiognomy. You understand? How they look. This is why a Chinese is short and small and has chinky eyes. You understand? So because of the type of animal he was engineered with, and the Caucasian also, and the color that they have, and the blue eyes. And we know that these Caucasian grow tails, you know, and some Middle East people, the Middle East people there, the Arabs and Arabs, some of the Arabs and Arabs, they walk on all four legs, because the genetics, because we know about genetics, they go on and off, right? So sometime down the lineage, the genetics could pop out for a certain tribe or a certain family. And that family I'm talking about is this type of people. They walk on all four legs. They still have the chimp DNA within them. It is the effect of the human engineering from ancient times that they are suffering from. Just like we have the albino suffering from the stumping out of the melanin. So we see these people are still suffering from this engineering technique where people draw out the melanin and make somebody Caucasian. So we see people are still suffering from this genetic experiment. You understand? We still see people suffering from the gigantism, where people are growing extra tall and people are growing extra big and all these type of things, because the genetics has been passed down. You understand? So yeah, so let's so that's where they get the features from the different types of monkeys that we use for them to be spliced with. So check this one out. So this could be where the Caucasian got his long protruding nose. from this type of monkey right here, this long type of nose. You understand? So we could see you could see, and like I said, all these animals what we are looking at right here, they have human DNA also, because all these animals were also engineered from a long time. You understand? That's why they look so human-like. And like I said before, evolution like to say that animals came before man, but man actually came before animals. Man are the ones animals get these engineered animals, I should say, got their features from. They are human features, I should say. So all the engineered animals, they got their human features from the human. You understand? And they got the animal features from whichever animal they were spliced with. So this is the engineered animals I'm talking about. Because man and woman are the originators on the earth, and they dwelt on the earth with the animals that came with the earth. And from the animals that came with the earth, man created different animals. The same way we created different types of human beings, and we created different types of food also. The plants, we engineered the plants also. This is why you have hybrid foods and all these type of things. You understand? So yes, so that's why man could trace back forward to that time period, to this time period, because every time we live for millions of years. So you know, this is a high science that has been there for so long. So many of the foods we see now, they were engineered long ago. You understand? Likewise, the present foods are engineered, like Caucasian stuff like this, but most of them are engineered from a long time ago. So the further you could go back is the better for you. The more you could get to the original, is the best for you when it comes to choosing your foods and stuff. You understand? So all in these areas, engineering displayed, and we could see engineering all over. So it's not no fictitious thing I'm talking about. But when it comes to evolution now, we don't see no black man turn into no Chinese, we don't see no black man turn into no Caucasian, we don't see no black man turn into no Indian. We never seen anything like that take place on planet Earth. The Caucasians are only telling us fairy tales. These are the real fairy tales. And the things that they tell you in their fairy tales are mythical, are actual reality. You understand? So let's get back to this. So we understand, right? Where the different type of features of mankind, not the black African, but mankind, the different races, the three major races. Let's make the point in the three major races: the Chinese, the Indians, and Caucasians. There are three different types of races, right? So they get their look from the different types of animals that were used to give them their look. So it's not different types of aliens from outer space who came and give them their different looks. You understand? It's different types of animals that were used and spliced with the original man DNA to create them. This is why they have a physical body, they have two arms and they have two legs and a head, because of the original man, the first man that created them from his genetics. Because we couldn't create them from inside by sex. Because when a black man and black woman come together, it's only man and woman. It's only black man and black. It's only black little babies they're gonna make. They're not gonna make no Chinese or no Indian. You understand? We know how that go. So the only way we have to go out of ourselves and take out our genetics, and I explained all that already, where you could take out the egg and place the genetics inside of it. So we have discussed all that already. So let's move on.
So the Asian person, the Caucasian, the African, they are in the image of the extraterrestrial that came to this planet a long time ago. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, you obviously give this stuff a great deal of thought, and I think you put your finger right on the button one more time. What again? I look at this scientifically, genetically, and ecologically. You know, if we only appeared as a species 250,000 years ago, not enough time has passed for these different race groups to have evolved. And I don't care what anyone throws at you, it's just not going to happen because...
Yes, you know, because it's when you just look into it, you know, everybody have their distinctive look. Everybody have their own look. And for evolution to play that role by creating everybody different from each other in all these different paradigms. Oh my. It's just crazy to think that, you know, and give everybody their specific look. You know, without any designer, nobody designing, you know. Evolution, nobody is designing. Things just happening while, like you know, like things just happening. You know? Out of nowhere, a fish will just jump out of the sea and grow legs, and that same fish will just grow wings and turn into a bird and all these type of things. That's evolution. That's what the stories they give us, they tell us. And people are buying that. You understand? So nothing's really, nothing is being designed specific. Nobody's doing the designing specifically in evolution. And yet still everything is coming out specifically. You understand? So we really gotta see what's going on. And that's why I'm saying it's engineering. It's the gods doing the engineering, the black Africans doing the engineering, creating the different plants, creating the different insects and animals, and the sea life, and creating different human beings on the earth to populate the earth and give them a culture and civilize them, teach them how to talk, walk, dress, and everything. You understand? So let's move on.
The strength of the genetic pool that keeps the Asian versus Asian is so strong that it defies any kind of argument or scientific or genetic evolution into that. It just doesn't make any sense. And the same goes with African people. The strength of the gene pool of Africans defies the movement away from that into somebody like me who's got a little pale skin and gets burned when I run into the sun.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, and there's not enough time that has passed on Earth for us to have evolved so dramatically into these 3 or 4 distinctly different race groups. And that's why when I said earlier, we call ourselves the human race. Well, we're not really the human race, because we are not one race group. We are 3 or 4, possibly more, distinctly different race groups. But the obvious ones are the Caucasians, the Asians, the Chinese. I suppose when I say Asian, I mean the Chinese.
Yes. So you could see he's actually saying it. You know, we are all different races. We look different. We act different. Our genetics are different. For all the top scholars who are saying that all our genetics are the same, and our genetics are even 99% the same as a chimpanzee and all these, and rats and all these type of creatures. You understand? But they are not talking about the 2 to the 3% difference, which is a big difference, a very huge difference. You know, because if we are 99%, our genetics is 99% close. As same as a chimpanzee. Just look at a human being and a chimpanzee and check out the difference. It's just a huge difference. You understand? So all these so-called scholars want to say everybody is just the same, and European is just a pale African and all these type of things. You know, you gotta go and redo your research, and research do upgrade sometimes. Knowledge you think you had today, it upgrade in the future, because what you once thought, that was the truth. It's not the truth. And you gotta go and look and see there is more truth to be found. You understand? So everything advances sometimes. You understand? So you must stop saying that.
Look, and then the black African, and that is fascinating stuff, because it becomes a melting pot of debate. What is interesting is earlier this year, I think it was in February, Craig Venter, the so-called father of the Human Genome Project, gave a speech which blew everyone's mind, and it certainly blew my mind, because he mentioned some startling facts. Until very recently, we were all sold the story that all humans are 99.9% genetically the same,
right,
identical. Well, that is no longer the case. Okay, with the Human Genome Project studies.
So that's no longer the case. Like he's saying, all humans' genetics are not 99% the same. You know, it's no longer the case.
They found out that between people and especially different race groups, there is up to 2 or 3% difference in their genetic structure.
And that's a big difference, isn't it?
It's a huge difference.
It's a big difference. Very, very big difference.
It's almost, Michael, as if they all came from different places in the universe.
That's certainly what it
Like
is.
I said, not different places in the universe. Different animals, different insects, creatures from the sea. You understand? Used to formulate the faces of these races that we see. And primarily the chimp, the apes, the monkeys, these are types of creatures, animals I should say, that was used to give these races their features. This is why, that's why they grow tails and they grow horns. You understand? Because the genetics of these animals are within these people. And from time to time, white people will grow tails, actually. So many different animals was used to splice them into existence by the black African. The black African is a scientist doing it in ancient times. You understand?
Seems like it seems like there might have been a prototype kind of person built here, and then another group by one group of extraterrestrial settlers for a specific purpose, the cloning of the humans by the Anunnaki many years.
So you see, there might have been a prototype, and then the Anunnaki come and use that prototype to create. You understand? So this is a depiction of the Anunnaki to them. And if you check out this Sumerian tablet, these people have pointy nose, like Caucasians. And I know back in that time period, Caucasians didn't really exist. You understand? That's the time they will be created. That's the time they were being created. So they couldn't have been looking like this. Remember, it was all black first. It was black first is one race on the planet, black supremacy, that governs the earth. You know, the solar systems and the galaxy and the universe, the multiverse is all black supremacy, all 4 corners of the earth. You understand? We're the ones who give birth to civilization, create all these types of people. So when we were created, there was an existence. Yeah, they couldn't have done this. So this might be a fake, according to Professor Williams, because we know the Europeans have technology to make anything look old. So they create these other facts to infuse themselves in history, to show that they were part of history, creating history. But they are not creating. They are part of the creation in a different way. You know, that they think. That's why they are all upset. That's why they are all mad. And that's why they're taking us through slavery and killing us and trying to put us at the bottom and trying to be kings over us and trying to rule the world, because they are upset with their position on the earth and who they are. So they want to come and take our temples away, want to come and play God over us. You understand? It's a typical thing. You never have you not seen Planet of the Apes? How all the apes just got together and just wipe out the human beings and take over the world? It's exactly what's going on. All these ape DNA people, they are gathering against the black people of the earth, the original people of the earth. That's what's going on. All the ape people, the Chinese, the Indians, all of them are raping and pillaging off of the black people, which are the originators of the earth. This is the planet of the apes. They are the ape people with the genetic. They themselves came out and said in the year 2000, when they are mapping out the human genome and finding out they could take these, and they were finding out that every genetics is in control of a certain function of the human body. They were mapping it out and putting it in sequence. They find out that all races have animal DNA except the black African. So they're still not giving the black African the credit for creating them, although they're finding out this, because there had to be somebody mutual in all this, you know, to create everybody with animal and animal DNA. Now for the black Africans, they have a little percentage of the a little percentage of the Neanderthal DNA, which is called RNA, RH stands for the rhesus monkey DNA. I mean, we get that through the mixing with these foreign people, you know. This is the DNA that attached to your chromosome, and it comes like it's part of it, but it's just something we that attach ourselves when we mix with foreign. That's why the great Marcus Garvey say, don't mix your race. Don't go out of your race. Don't mix your race. It's forbidden to mix your race. You have to stick to black. You understand? But when you go and mix your race and you go and mix with this ape race now, you're going to catch diseases. You're going to catch all type of diseases. All type of genetics will be added on to you. The animal genetics will be added on to you. And they also give us these animal genetics through the eating of the flesh also. By eating of the flesh, you also take traits of this animal genetics. And all this is inside of you, from mixing everything, through slavery. So they did the worst of the worst and the worst to us, to actually change our way of living and change our own mechanism within our body, right? So the worst, so all this was done to the black African because of all what I'm saying. Because we give birth to civilization, you create all these type of races. Now they're coming back and they're pillaging and killing and raping the people who created them. And this is what we're going through, you know. So I'm not far off when I'm describing human engineering and what took place and how humans came to be in existence. You know, this is describing what we are going through right now in slavery and how we will get out of slavery and go back to Africa and spread righteousness all 4 corners of the earth. You know, so that's the point that I'm getting at. So I'm not far off when you see I'm talking about this human engineering thing. It's a real fact. You understand? So let me get back to track. So I was saying about these Sumerian tablets and this Caucasian looking like, and this is fake and all this. So they say the Anunnaki came down, right? So so this is who does Anunnaki to him. And these people came down and these people came down and took whatever existing creature that was living and formulated mankind. Okay, so we're gonna get to the Anunnaki and we're gonna see how mankind interest or how mankind important is, you know, when it comes to the whole Anunnaki and the way they explain this whole creation. Because I'm saying that Anunnaki is the black African, you know, who spliced mankind into life. So it's not no beings from outer space. Understand? So let's go.
Very familiar with that. That seems to be a specific point in time, and possibly was some of the earliest human manipulation of this new species called Homo sapiens.
We talked about just how we evolved on this planet. You know, we're talking about the work of Zecharia Sitchin in his theories of the 12th planet. Robert Septier does a very thorough job trying to coordinate all the various people who are talking about this. And it's growing, I think. It's growing and it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so we're growing, getting bigger, and we're getting bigger because we're going through the galaxies, the system, you know, and the further we go, the more we advance. Going through different cycles, you know, because the cycles have to do with the level of intelligence that we receive from the universe. So each cycle that we go through is either, you know, we're going through something emotionally and mentally, you know, when we go through the cycles as within our universe. So like I was saying, animals now have human DNA. We could almost immediately see the features. This ape looks like it mixed with a rabbit, something, because some of them are mixed with rabbit. That's how some of these monkeys were created, apes. Some of them mixed with rabbit and cat. Some of them have cat DNA, they mix with cat. You know, got different animals were created and then used to splice other animals into existence. So it was done in all levels. Many different techniques, like I said. You know, we have monkeys with long arms, those with tails, those with no tail, you know, all different type of things. You understand? So we could see where the red hair comes from the Caucasian. You know, the red type of hair. Even the giants have red hair also. You could see where they come from. The giants. These giants tend to be cannibalistic and they have red hair and all. So, but we see there are giants in all races though. You know, there are Caucasian giants, there are Chinese giants, there are same way there are all different types of hominids. You understand? All different types of hominids there are, because hominids from the Chinese side, hominids from the Indian side, hominids from the European side. Because remember the first Chinese, they were black, and the reason why is that because the hominids are black, and when you're experimenting and reaching to the level of a human being, now you have to go through all this process creating creatures, and they all will be black because remember I said it was black first. So whatever you create will be black until you develop the science to dilute the color black, you know, to actually stamp out the black gene. You understand? So the first Indians came out black. The first Chinese, came out black. Likewise, the Indians and the Caucasians, they will come out black because of the engineering process. Not because of no evolution or natural selection or ice age, where people get caught up in ice and just turn magically. You understand? Nothing like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's all engineering. It's all things being done specifically, precisely. You understand? So it's no mistake. So yeah, so out of animals, the engineered animals, all engineered animals has human DNA inside of them. You know? And we brought it to the level of house pets, where you could have a cat as a pet and a dog, and you know, that's why you say dog's man's best friend. Because you could see, you could relate to it, you could talk to it, you could teach it, you could order it around, because it has human DNA, you have humanized it. So from the time you put human genetics, you're actually humanizing it. You know? So that's the level we brought it to. So Africans develop all manner of science in all angles. Right? So the Europeans are just rediscovering it. So so we're going to hear a little more of the creation of mankind. Now this is Billy Carson. We're going to go to a black guy, right? This is Billy Carson, and he's famous for this Anunnaki story and the Book of Thoth and the Emerald Tablets and the Sumerian Tablets. He's famous for discussing these topics, and he has the opinion. His opinion is that we are all one. Our genetics are the same because we are slave race created by the Anunnaki. Anunnaki came now. So his theory of the Anunnaki and everything collides with, not collides, but goes with the white people theory of the Anunnaki and who created them, because the white people are trying to escape the black Africans for creating them when they go into extraterrestrials. And they're saying aliens, Anunnakis came down and created them. So this is why this guy, this black guy, Billy Carson, is so famous, because every white dude wanna interview him concerning these topics, because they are so excited about it. A black guy comes and says the same thing that they're saying concerning the Anunnaki not giving black Africans the credit, although they're getting all this research and evidence in Africa, but yet still they're playing no minds with the Africans in Africa. You know, to give them the credit and say that probably they could be the ones who created us, but they're giving the credit to aliens they have no reference to and has never seen. You understand? So let's say a little bit of what Billy Carson has to say about the Anunnaki coming down to planet Earth, and there we're going to see the importance of the creation of mankind. How important? So if we all are mankind, we're going to see the importance of that, of our God who created us. If we all are under category of mankind, like they like to just put us all in one loop, you know, because when they give these stories about creation, before I press the word play. The symbol play, I mean. When they give us these calculations of creation of mankind, you know, no, I forget what I wanted to say. But anyway, let's go into the video. When I play the video, it will come back.
So he can see it as well. Because it's so many, it's not just clock.
Give it a second. I had it paused for a while, so
The clock.
it's
You
buffering.
can comment to the post that I make, totaling up to 111, or 333, or 444, or 1111, or worker race, put them to work for us. Everything was agreed upon. UCLA actually has an
Just trying to
online
get-
CDLI uniform library completely outside of
I'm just trying to get at the right point,
you don't
right?
rely on all the other people. You can do the work yourself now. And when I began to do that, I was like, oh, that now is a failed star. Ran a field, or some believe that they were in the Mayan from wars and then came here. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter
So
is,
that point
these
there,
beings came here from another.
so let me explain a little part, because I don't think you'll get it. So he's saying basically he's speculating, right? And he's saying that these beings came down and maybe they ran out of fuel, and maybe they came from this planet, or maybe they come from that planet, because he's not sure. But he's saying all this doesn't matter, but the fact is that they came down here in search of gold, to mine gold. And when they mined gold for many years, they grew tired. Some of the officials of that Anunnaki group got tired, and they decided to create human beings just for the purpose of mining gold, right?
Planet. They landed on planet Earth. They then lived here and worked this planet on their own, out humans, for 250,000 years. They came here basically about 450,000 years. 250,000 years, they got tired. Well, some of the people in their ranks got tired of the labor. They were working on Mars, which they were called the EGG, and they were working on Earth. They got tired of the labor. They had a coup. They said, look, we're going to take control of this. We're going to have a war. We're going to stop this work. Enki, one of the Anunnaki gods and the leaders, said, look, I have an idea what to do. They didn't modify the existing hominid on this planet, make them into a worker race, put them to work for us. Everything was agreed upon.
So he said Enki came down and said they're gonna create human beings, and they're gonna use existing hominid that already existed on planet Earth. So I'm wondering where the hominid came from. Who created the hominid? And when the Anunnaki lived on Earth for 200 or whatever years that they said, were they the first people on planet Earth? Actually, he's saying that they lived on Earth before anybody was there. And it links to what I've been saying when I say the Africans dwelt on the earth before any races was in existence. So I'm saying the Anunnaki is the black Africans, but he's saying the Anunnaki is some aliens from outer space. But we know the Africans are the originators of Africa, and they dwelt on Earth, planet Earth, before any race was in existence. You see? So we could actually put it together. So let's continue here what he's saying.
That's exactly what they did. They put us in the Eden, and they created us. Now, before they created the perfect human we are now, they had many other forms they had done through cloning chambers and many other methods that could not replicate on their own, that would reproduce.
So you see, it's still linking to what I've been saying. And so when our black Africans were splicing, they created many different creatures. Many creatures came before we actually got to the development, the point of actual human beings, with the Indians and the Chinese and the Caucasians. Many mythical creatures were created before them in the process of creating them. So basically that's what he's saying. You understand?
Slowly, but there were already millions of people, if not tens of thousands, of people already on the planet long before the first Adam and Eve were the perfected human beings came forth.
So here it goes again. So Africans, so it's linking the same thing I've been saying. Africans lived for millions and millions of years before any race came into existence. That's why I put a difference in man and woman. I put a difference between I put a difference between man and mankind. Man came first, then mankind came after. So man and woman dwelt on the earth for millions and millions of years before mankind came into existence. This is what I'm telling you. I'm putting to you in a plain way that you can understand, instead of the way he's putting it and saying aliens came down and did all this, and we have no idea what he's talking about. You understand? So somebody has to come in and put this thing straight. You understand?
So that's where it gets so real to me that I can see that our story is way much deeper and richer than we've been told.
Yeah. He's saying our story is way more richer and deeper than we've been told, right? So if our story is so richer, so what's rich about Anunnakis coming down from space in search of gold, mined gold for thousands of years, got tired and decided to create human beings to mine gold? You understand? What's rich about that? What's so nice about that? So Anunnaki is our God then, because they're the one who created us for no particular reason but just to mine gold. So we don't really have any reason for life. We're not connected to the cosmos, nothing. You understand? Because we're just created to mine gold, so we just created as slaves. So this is what he's saying, but yet still he's saying this is so rich, our history is so rich and this and that and that. What history is rich? What is he talking about? You understand? Like he's not understanding what he's saying. So he's contradicting himself all over, but you have to be on your game to really point it out. You understand? So yeah. So although I like the information that he's putting out, this black guy, I like the information that he's putting out, but he is putting it in the wrong format. You know? I only take the good stuff, right? And everybody that you research and you hear them talk, you take the good things and you leave the bad things you can understand, you leave it out, and you tune to what you can understand, all right? And you rock with that. So exactly what I'm doing with him, I'm just taking the good things that he say and I'm just putting it in the proper perspective. You understand? Because some of these guys will go way out trying to please white supremacy, because these white folks love these type of stories when they talk about aliens in space come and create them. So they don't have to give black Africans no credit for creating them. So let's go on some more evidence. Let's say what this cracker has to say concerning
always in short supply. The giant mud fossils in South Africa. This is incredible stuff. You've done many presentations on it now. Lots of evidence. So it's not like you're just saying things. Let's just start there. Tell me more about the giant.
Okay, before I go to the giants, let me go back to this. So we were on that, right? Talking about animals have human genetics. So we're going to give a little, we're going to go into a little video, and we're going to show how species of creatures from the sea could be spliced with creatures on the land to create something new, a new creature, right? So we're going to take a look at this is RFG, and I like the little video that he put together where he's showing the praying mantis comes from this specific sea insect, I should call it. And when spliced, you get a praying mantis. So he's showing the insects and the animal that it was spliced with to create a praying mantis. So this was on pause for a long time, so it's taken back to actually And so just give me a second. So a lot took place in ancient time. So we don't really have the understanding of the amount of time that has passed already. You know, millions and millions of years up to 2019 today. You understand? Millions of years. So we have to grasp that, you know, so we could have an idea the amount of things that was taking place on planet Earth. You understand? Although I had something else to say, but it slipped my mind, so we're gonna go right into it like we already was gonna do. I wanted to bring up a point, but so yeah, so this is RFG, right? And it's explaining the genetic splicing of insects, right? So we're gonna hear what you gotta say concerning that. So you'll get, I like the way you put this little video, so I'm just gonna let it run. So you're gonna get a little idea of what I'm talking about even more. Let me see where it's at.
Okay, this creature has been caught eating lizards, eating small rodents, okay, as well as other insects. This is a very intelligent insect. Okay, very intelligent.
Okay, I wanna pull it down.
Species as well. Okay, and I'm going to prove that in this lecture. So just stay tuned and listen very carefully. Okay, you know, first off, you know, we have this praying points to them being genetically spliced. Okay. As we know, our ancestors had a splicing program that went on.
Just give it a second to catch itself, you know.
Splicing program that went on to domesticate certain animals thousands and thousands of years ago. While they were doing that, this goes for all species on this earth, ladies and gentlemen.
So you see, I'm not the only one with the idea or the evidence, you know. Like I was saying, you know, our ancestors had a time period where all these animals and insects was being spliced, and human beings had a time period where they would splice. And also, when it comes to the plants, the food and everything had a time period where they will splice also. You understand? Until science, in our present day where these people who run the world redevelop the science. You know? So yeah, so let's continue concerning the splicing of insects. In particular, how you call this praying mantis.
They were splicing insect species as well. Okay? I'm going to prove that in this lecture. So just stay tuned and listen very carefully. Okay, you know, first off, you know, we have this praying mantis creature. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to get into what this praying mantis creature is all about and why it was held in such high regard to our ancestors. Okay? So let's just look at this praying mantis creature. We have these mandible-like serrated arms. These mandible-like serrated arms that are perfect for it to capture its prey and for it to eat it. Okay? This insect is a carnivore. It's carnivorous. It eats other animals. It eats other life forms.
Okay,
This creature has been caught eating lizards, eating small rodents,
okay,
as well as other insects. This is a very intelligent insect. Okay, very intelligent.
Very long
body, very long arms and legs, very long abdomen, the ability to fly, and it has the ability to change colors with its environment. Okay?
So
I know you would ask me, what is this praying mantis mixed with? If it's a result of genetic splicing, what is it been spliced with? I want to let you guys know that before I go any further, that all insects on this planet at one point were crustaceans in the ocean. Let me repeat. All insects and all arachnids on this planet, 100% of them, their DNA goes back to the ocean because they are directly related to crustaceans. Crustaceans that dwell in the ocean. Okay? For everyone who doesn't know what the crustaceans are, the crustaceans would be the crab, the crab species, and the lobster species. Okay? Those are your two crustaceans. All insects and arachnids on the planet go back to the crustaceans. You know why? What do the insects and the crustaceans have in common? The crustaceans have an exoskeleton. The insects and the arachnids have an exoskeleton. That means their skeleton is on the outside of their body, and their soft parts of their body and their organs are on the inside. That is the opposite of mammals, and birds and reptiles. That's the opposite. Okay? Crustaceans, insects, and arachnids have very hard exoskeletons. Their skeletons are on the outside of their body. Okay? So once again, like I said, every single insect species ties back to a crustacean that comes from the water. All life forms on this planet come from the water. Okay? The insects are no different. So let's go back to this praying mantis here. Okay, so what do you think? What do I think a praying mantis is spliced with? Well, about to blow you guys away. The praying mantis comes from a crustacean. The praying mantis comes from a crustacean. Okay, this is their base species. The praying mantis comes from a crustacean known as the mantis shrimp. Known as the mantis shrimp. When you look at the mantis shrimp, it is an...
Yeah, so basically, we could see where other insects and animals come from by looking at other creatures, other animals, to relate the structure, the physiognomy of this creature, of any whatever creature you're looking at. Alright? So this is why he himself go back into the sea and see what creature relates to the praying mantis. And there you have it. So likewise, you could do that with many other animals and see where they get the traits from, or particular way they look, or their eyes, or their foot, or anything part of their body. It might look like something of a creature that is older than a present creature that you're looking at. You understand? So you could make the relations. You could relate, and see where one came from the other. Just same thing goes with the food. How they just did the food go back to just did the specific foods from that century and this century and that century, because when you trace where the engineered foods come from, you trace that one from this one, you trace that one from another one, and you go back and you go back and you go back, and you could see where that one comes. So you could see where the present one comes from when you do your study and your traces. Same thing goes for the insects and the animals. You could trace them back, and see which one they came from, just by relating the similarities. of the structures. You understand? So this is the format you could go doing this type of research. You understand? This type of calculation. The same thing, like because engineered food, engineered creatures, engineered people. So the same thing, same root with the people. You find out who is the grandmother, who it came from, and the mother before that mother, and the mother before that mother, and the mother before that mother, and you go back and you go back. You do the same thing in the man's side, father before that father, and the father before that father, and the father before that father, and you go back and you find out where the present one comes from. You find out it comes from this and that because you trace it. So the same thing being done with these creatures to find out where they come from. The same process, because engineering we're talking about. So it's from one to the other. You understand? So that's what's going on. So I just wanted to highlight that. I wouldn't go into the whole video, but I just wanted to highlight that little piece, and we're gonna move on. Because we have a lot to cover. It's gonna take a little piece of everything. Once we go back and do the research, because you have seen what I've shown. So let's move on. So we're going to the scripture now, right? So we're going to go into the aspect of giants and how genetics could be manipulated and to create giants in the earth. And we're going to go to the Bible and see how the Bible reference giants. It's just one chapter. I'll have more chapters coming soon. A special video specifically on that case. But we're going to go into this one right now. This is Mud Fossil University, and they're breaking giants from the biblical aspect, going into the creation, the earth itself, to actually show and prove giants exist as an ancient creature, or mankind or human beings. You understand? So they were human. That's what I'm trying to say. The giants, they were human beings. You understand? They were man and woman also. Because Africans, whatever we see in the world today, just know Africans developed it first. So if you hear about giants, just know African had giants first. You heard about midgets, just know Africans had midgets first. You heard about mythical creatures, mermaids, all type of sea creatures, every fairy tale and everything. Just know Africans had it first, because that's where everything came from. You understand? The science developed from Africa. That's where the science developed. Now the new world is rediscovering the sciences. Understand? So let's go into Mud Fossil University. Let's see what they got to say.
Fossil University coming to you today with a slight change in history. Actually, we have to start over history. Now, one of the earliest issues was Genesis 6:4, totally misunderstood. There were giants in the earth in those days. There were giants in the earth in those days. Pretty straightforward. And also,
yeah, that's straightforward. So it's basically telling you there were giants in those days. So they had time where giants existed. In those days, as the ancient days, giants existed. It was a normal thing to see a giant. It's a normal thing to see a giant. People live alongside giants. There were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that. You understand? So giants still exist today. There were giants in those days and also after that.
So after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. So after that, there was more giants. When the sons of God came.
So the sons of God came down onto the daughters and bare children, and the same became, old, and they were known as renowned men, right? Renowned men of old, right? So this is basically what he's reading there is a reference to engineering. And the sons of God being the black Africans who came and spliced giants into existence. They created giants. Like the scripture is showing you, like they took the daughters of men and they bear children. Yes, because when you take out the egg from the woman and you infuse and you splice and you infuse whatever genetics you infuse inside there, you gotta put it back into her so it could develop and grow. You understand? So the women were used to grow the splice genetics, you know, that created the giants. So this is why this scripture is telling you there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them, and the same became, which were all whatever it says after that. So yeah, so it's showing you, you know. So I'm telling you now, what it's really showing you is the black Africans, the sons of God, you know, use the woman's womb, because that's a science. That's a science of engineering. You take out, just like we see today, they could take out the woman's egg and infuse and put it under a microscope and infuse the genetics in there, and you infuse it back, put it back inside the woman's body, and it becomes an embryo. Everything gets fertilized, whatever, or it could even be fertilized before they put it back in the woman's belly. You understand? And it grows inside of there. You know, whatever you put inside there will grow inside of the woman. So if you're experimenting on giants now, where you actually take out the woman egg now, and you have the genetics of growth, and you manipulate it, and you infuse it back in the woman's womb, because when you manipulate the growth genetic, you could manipulate it in the sense to grow tall, where it will pass the boundaries of a normal growth of a man, and you infuse that back inside the woman, and you let that seed develop, and that seed will grow to be tall person. It depends on how tall you want the person to grow. The same thing when you goes for a midget. You know, you target a gene that stops the growth, and then you have a midget. You know, this is why we have midgets today, because this is the effect of the midgets before that were created. So that's why we have giants today. People who grow tall, because they are the effects of the original giants. Their genetics has been passed down to them, to these people this day. So that's what's taking place. You understand? So there were giants in those days. So the sons of God, which is the black African, the Anunnaki, who splice the genetics, you know, inside, they splice the genetics and manipulate the genetics and infuse it back into the woman's womb, and there we have giants being born. This is why they say the sons of God took on the women. You understand?
And the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. Traditionally, I'm told that means there was giants that were born from these unions of the angels and the sons and daughters of men. And those were the giants, men of old. Well, obviously they weren't the men of old. These that were in the ground were men of old. They were giants in the earth in those days. And after that, there was more giants. Two sets of giants. Now, who was the first set of giants? They were apparently the Titans. Because what I have found on the earth, my research is pretty straightforward and pretty obvious. These were giant creatures. I've shown dragon, I've shown fish, and desert objects, dragon 900 miles long. Not a person on the face of this planet can argue with that. So, let's go to what is the reality. There were giants in the earth. They were the earth. And they were the men of old. The men of renown. Who was the men of old? The Titans. Kronos. Zeus. All of these guys. Now, that's what I'm saying. And Tiamat, all of these things that were written, I believe now, from my research, not from just hoping, guessing, thinking, calculating, mathematicianizing, I'm looking at what's factually on the ground, factually written in historical documents record, and this is the interpretation I take. Myths are literal. Not metaphorical, literal. Now, what does that mean? What were we to these creatures if we were the size we are now? We were bacteria. We weren't even bacteria. And I'm going to show you how I can make that statement. The evidence supports that statement. Okay, I discovered some things.
Mud Fossil University now they go on the level of discovering giants on the mass level. But there are different levels of giants. You know, the structure of the earth is a giant actually. Giants actually, of giant creatures and giant man and woman. This is the formula for the earth. The dirt, the stones, everything, this is the actual mechanism for it. Because like I said before, the whole mechanism of the universe, the galaxies, to the smallest particle, DNA, everything is after the format and essence of man and woman and child and prophet, priest and king. This is the Trinity. This is the concept of the universe, you know, and on all levels, right? On all aspects, you get the aspect of man and woman and child, because the creator, what we call the creator, or we call God, that's the formula for God. Man and woman makes up the concept of God. You understand? So if man and woman is the concept of God, everything they create will have that same concept within them. So that's why I'm saying even the earth is within that same concept. You understand? On a gigantic level, but we don't really observe it, or we really have the history of this knowledge of the earth. You know? But it's so gigantic that we don't really recognize it. You know? So what I'm showing there right now is actual physical evidence of these giant creatures and these giant beings that make up the earth. You understand? So that's what Mud Fossil University is describing here, but I am putting it in that way that I'm explaining it right now. You understand? So I'm using this evidence here to formulate what is really going on, put it in a good aspect that people understand what's going on. Because sometimes the people who are doing the research, they are not in the position to actually put the thing in the right perspective. You still need other people to come in and put the puzzle in the right way. So we're going to listen to Mud Fossil University. This is Roger. You know, we're going to listen to Roger and hear what Roger's saying, you know, concerning the giants of the earth. You understand? So let's go in. So all this will help us understand the level that I'm talking about, the level of engineering that I'm talking about, where everything comes from, the concept of where things come from, you know. So we got to look at all this.
To the earth that are truly incredible and are being avoided and ignored because of the spectacular nature that they present to geologists and archaeologists. And the things that I have found, such as this dragon-scaled throat, which is attached to a gigantic, enormous dragon. And this is his head right here. And his dragon-scaled throat has now started to decay in the desert, so it has not been here that long. Any coroner will tell you that this is the effluent runoff from dead, decaying bodies. His legs here, his throat went all the way up here, and his tail went all the way to the Mediterranean. This creature is well over 900 miles long, and here is his decaying tail heading toward the Mediterranean, and it continues on and flares out in this area. Now, that is not your question unless you have no eyes to see, and neither.
Now, this is Africa is pointing out there. This is the map of Africa. This is Google Earth actually. And he's showing the geographical locations, right? How they look, you know, and he's actually showing us the structure of a dragon in the in these geographical location, which is Africa, right? The map of Africa. So I think that's Morocco right there. Where you see where the dragon is the area of Morocco. And so he's actually showing you the landscape. Looks like it's in the pattern of a dragon, right? And the landscape actually shows different creatures, pattern of different creatures. So there is a dragon, there is a fish. So this is the fish that we're looking at. You know, and he's saying that the dragon spews some nasty venom upon the fish. You know, and he's giving a story. And so let's continue. Let me just let him explain instead.
There is this. That dragon here has attacked with some kind of venom of fish directly below him, and this venom is identical to the venom that comes out of certain reptile snakes, which is highly toxic and deadly to other creatures, as it was in this case.
So he's saying the venom looks like the same venom that other reptiles carry, which is very toxic and dangerous. So he says it's very similar.
And he sprayed that chemistry, whatever it was, onto this fish, which was gigantic and here in the desert. These are the scales. This is vital tissue. This is destroyed tissue because it was violated by that dragon stick, whatever it was. You can see it has attacked and destroyed whatever this was prior to it being destroyed. Now, these things are written about in the Bible and in ancient Hebrew texts, and I have been reading extensively on this, and it is a mind-blower and could.
Okay, we're going to jump, we're going to move forward.
They have one of these and they have one of these. You just don't understand that they... Think of what your statements do. Segment of a corkscrew with its roots. They have one of these and they have one of these. You just don't understand. They thought these were burying, burrowing creatures and things. But that is exactly what the stalk right here. And it's a good shot showing the oil glands surrounding here, which is what we saw where they had one of those corkscrews. This is the structure of this way. You have these little corkscrew things, and they are in amongst the hair.
So basically what he's explaining there, right? So these scientists in those days, they were finding these strange looking things, right? Coming up, protruding out of the earth and stuff like this. And they couldn't make out what it was, so they were figuring probably it might be a giant screw or something. So you know, whatever scientists whenever they're researching, if they find out things and they don't really know what it means, just label it with something. So in their mind, it's just a giant screw or something. You understand? That's how they label it. And you go to university and you go to learn it like that. You understand? So since this is on a giant scale now, they won't be able to observe what's going on. It's on a giant scale. But when you go back to the microscopic level now, you can start to identify the giant looking things that we see on Earth that we can identify. You understand? When we go back to the microscopic level and look into our body and every part of our body and see how it is designed and everything, we could start to understand the things that we see on Earth that is gigantic, that we never used to understand before. So he's showing you what these white folks are calling a screw, a giant screw, is actually hair. It's actually hair from a giant. The hair is from a giant. You understand? So this is what he's actually explaining in this particular clip, right?
This guy right here, these are sweat glands. And there's hair here in these too. I'm not sure that is every hair.
So these archaeologists, they find these structures in the earth when they go dig and look for stuff, you know. But they cannot really explain what they're finding because it's such on a gigantic level. They would never think that is a giant over here. It's a giant's hair in the earth turned into stone. All these things are turned into stone, right? Because it's the earth we're talking about. So all these things in the format of a stone, mud fossil, right? So I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Now, these are sweat glands, that's the size of the gut. So, and sweat glands are all mammals have sweat. Even dogs, they don't sweat dogs. What doesn't mean that they don't have sweat glands, they do have sweat glands. Mammals have sweat glands. That is my interpretation. Now, I'm going to show you some hairs that don't have sweat glands. A whole different story. No, this is human. And you see this kaolin clay? When that sort of crumples, it makes it very dusty stuff. And it comes in 4 skin colors. That's why it's...
And keep in mind, you know, the human body represents the earth. This is why our ancient ancestors depicted Nut as the universe and Geb as the earth. You know, but it's both man and woman, the earth, you know, so represented. Because that's in essence of life. So every part, every mineral and every content is a replica of the human body. Like, you know, so what you find in the human body, you also find in the earth. So you find clay in the earth, you could find clay in the human body, you find gold, you find diamond, you can find all these things in the human body. But not just the human body, they actually formulate the human body. They are the mechanism of the human body. Just like you have iron and you have metals in the soil and all this type of thing. That's why we have fingernails and we have teeth. Our teeth are made out of quartz crystals. We have crystals in our brain. Our fingernails, you know, metal is a type of, you know. So when all these things, when our body has to grow all these things, it's the same metal of the earth, which are minerals that are being carried, because our body itself is a whole universe, and it has its mechanism, it has all its workers, all the type of creatures working inside your body, all the bacteria and all these things, all these things has work. All the bacteria itself has to collect all the metals within your blood and everything, you know, within the minerals, and carry them to your blood, you know, on different parts of your body, so you could have fingernails, so you could have teeth, so you could have bones, and, you know, strong bones and all these type of things. You understand? So you could grow hair, and so all the clay, all these minerals, all the copper, everything is for the development of our body. So you could go back in the earth and see yourself in the earth, and see the same thing, that the same traits that you carry. The earth has it also, because the earth, you from the earth, and the earth is out of you, because you and the earth is one. You know, everything is one on different levels. Everything is one on different levels. You understand? Everything is man and woman on different levels. This is the mechanism for saying. So the earth is man and woman. So you'll go in the earth and you'll be able to identify man and woman in a gigantic level. But if you don't have knowledge of that, when you see these things, you want to observe it. You're just seeing a big piece of rock, a big piece of this or that or that. You want to observe, you're actually looking at body parts. You understand? So let's go on.
Kaolin clay is a 4 skin colors. But you see this shimmering looking effect? That's what you see on here. And that is not what you see of color. And of course, these would have sweat and they don't have sweat color. Alright, I believe this is human here. They have this little scale effect coming down. You can see they hollow out from the inside. That's what happens with hair. Now, this little brown, dusty stuff, I believe is brown kaolin clay. It's the clay of skin. And all of these hairs, you can see how they fall apart. I can't remember, I think this is over Romania, I believe. There's some Slavic area over there, and I think it's called the Petrified Forest. Now here's some more here. And you see how they have sort of a grainy looking substance to them, that's nothing like a tree. And you see how they're hollow on the series. These are hairs. And
now all that is on a gigantic level. So you won't observe this, but if you go in a microscope now, you could actually identify it and see that's what's going on here, that's what's taking place here. You understand?
That's another creature. Now, if there's the corkscrews there of the surface, it's a human creature. It was so many different creatures.
Okay, yes, there were many different creatures. So we're gonna go to one more video. That's gonna be the last video, and we're gonna see what it's saying some more about giants and Africa being the origin of these giants. So let's see what you got to say about Africa concerning giants and evidence.
Fossils in South Africa.
Well, that's a very important subject, Russell, and possibly, in my humble opinion, one of the most important discoveries in archaeology, anthropology, and paleoanthropology in the world in the last 100 to 200 years, and possibly ever, because we now have physical evidence of vast variety of body parts, fossilized body parts from humanoids, probably slightly larger than humans, to several times the size of humans, to 100 times the size of humans, and possibly even bigger than that. I have a museum full of these fossils, otherwise known as mud fossils. It's a slightly different process of fossilization, and we can go into that. But the fascinating thing about this is that this is what has taken pretty much 11 years for my eyes to open to see this. Since 2007 I've been walking through these mountains in South Africa and analyzing and studying the stone circles, the ruins, and for those people that don't know about that, a quick reminder that South Africa is now officially the place where you find the largest collection of ancient stone ruins found anywhere on Earth. Because we have at least 10 million stone circles that have become known as the stone circles, scattered throughout South Africa, Zimbabwe. And so these ancient ruins were left behind by the vanished civilization that we know very little about, unless you read my books and follow my YouTube channel. And we're learning more and more about the vanished civilization, possibly connected to activities of the Anunnaki. We have evidence of all the ancient gold mines and the gold mining activity, and so much more since you and I have spoken has come to light with regards to the gold mines of ancient times and how the gold was mined and so forth.
Are you saying that South Africa is the true cradle of civilization?
Well, there's certainly some of the creation happened here. What I'm beginning to see is that these beings that occupied the world many hundreds of thousands of years ago, probably millions of years ago, and have come and gone in waves, just to remind us all that we know very little about our human history and the history of our planet. And what we think we know is probably very far removed from the real truth. So we just got to constantly be open to new information and rewrite and restructure our thoughts and our knowledge, keep adding to the knowledge pool, and that keeps changing the outcome. So it looks like humans and other humanoid beings were created at different parts, at different times, at different places around the world. And South Africa was most definitely one of those places. It's an oral tradition.
Yes. So what he's saying actually, he's actually saying what I've been saying. The project started in Africa, and it developed out into the world. That's why you find Chinese in China, that's why you find Indians in India, and Caucasians in Caucasus Mountains, Europeans. Rome, Greece, all these places, you understand? Everybody has their place. And you find the tribal people in their little tribal areas. Because a lot of tribal people will splice also. That's why they just remain in the bushes, where they are the hunter-gatherers. They're just in their own world. Up to a day like today, these tribal people are still in their own world. And they have no part to play in the modern world. Because that's what they were created and that's where they were placed. And that's what they continue to be. You understand? Because they are engineered with animal genetics, so they're living in the wild like the animals live in the wild. And since they are humanized, so they are living part animal, part human lives. That's why we see them in the bushes and they have no clothes on, and you know, they have strings passing in the buttocks, and they eat all manner of animals and different type of things. This is why the Chinese and them have the great appetite for insects and all different types of animals they are eating, because of the animal DNA within inside them. You understand? So that's why we're seeing that.
African Germanic oral tradition. It's in the ancient ruins that we find here. The physical evidence is around us, not just in the thousands, but in the millions. And there's overwhelming evidence that these ancient structures go back hundreds of thousands of years, and not just thousands of years. So as far as we stand right now, Adam's calendar, the stone circles of Southern Africa are the oldest structures known to us on Earth to date. Adam's calendar is still a functioning calendar today, but then we realize that these are energy generating devices, as we've discussed before. These are not dwellings for animals. And this is why they built these stone circles in such large numbers, because it seems that they were possibly generating an atmosphere, a habitable atmosphere, possibly creating oxygen. And again, they'll have a lot more supportive material and information that suggests that. But after studying these stone circles and really exposing this information to the rest of the world over the last since 2007, the one thing that became an interesting fascination were the ringing stones, the stones that ring like bells that some of your listeners may have heard. If not, go to YouTube, go to my channel, and I'll be launching a new channel very soon with a lot of updated videos on a regular basis, so that's going to be really exciting. And look at the ringing stones, or the stones that ring like bells. And I was fascinated by these stones and started collecting them for my museum, which is now home to thousands of incredible tools and artifacts that are priceless and unique, that you can't find anywhere else. Related.
Alright, so give thanks, you know. We're going to stop here. I'm not going to go into the whole video anymore because we have been recording for a while, so we're going to continue part 7, you know. So give thanks for coming in. This is Lord Sage, Sage of the 7th Pass. You know, give thanks for tuning in. Frequency, you know. Jah, Rastafari. Peace and love. Right?